No matter how uncomfortable and scary this is, we can't keep running away from the conversation. There is a problem with YouTube polyglots. Yes, I'm talking about those cool guys who speak at least 10 languages and promise they can help you learn your target language in a year, 6 months, or even 3 months. You should take their advice with a grain of salt, otherwise you'll be very disappointed for 3 reasons. First,
Misinformation.
learning languages doesn't make you a language learning teacher. That's not someone smarter actually. Does learning languages make you a language learning instructor? No, simply learning a language does not automatically make you a language instructor, blah 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 blah. Moreover, being a language instructor involves having a deep understanding of the language being taught, including the nuances and cultural aspects. Well, there is a big difference between consuming information and passing it on, I guess. These polyglots might not be aware of that. So the misinformation that we're talking about here might not be intentional, but it is still causing a lot of damage. Another thing to take into account is personality. Depending on who you are, certain language learning methods might not work for you. Your personality will affect how you approach and engage with new information. So the idea that anyone would have a secret recipe for what works in every situation is silly. The other problem is that YouTube videos are optimized for views. So everything is flashy and sensational, which may give you the false impression that learning a language doesn't require hard work and dedication. Just look at those titles. This is so tempting. Things look so achievable because all of them have a timestamp. Look, I'm not saying that learning a foreign language should be a tedious and boring endeavor, and I don't ascribe to the no pain, no gain ideology. However, it almost always requires hard work to learn a foreign language, especially if you are a new language learner.
Lack of cultural sensitivity.
Languages aren't born in a vacuum. They are the vocalization of deep-rooted cultures, customs, and history of a particular group of people. In this sense, languages are more than a combination of words and grammatical rules. So someone standing in front of a camera and uttering a few sentences in a particular language doesn't mean much of anything. My question is, can you actually connect with people? The answer to this question usually requires more than having a good vocabulary. This is one of the reasons why an app like Duolingo doesn't work. It doesn't take into account contextual factors and cultural differences. That's why you need to research first before starting to learn a new language. For example, there are languages that have multiple dialects. So depending on your goals, you should take a different route. The reason is that languages have multiple functions. For instance, if you want to study abroad, you would take a different path in your learning than if you were to travel for work or just for tourism. This means that you need to be careful in choosing how you go about learning that target language, because your learning pathway may lead you to different places. Let's say you're learning Spanish. First, you'll need to decide which Spanish dialects you wanted to learn. Do you want to learn the Spanish from Spain or a Latin American version of the language? Let's say you pick one of the many Latin American dialects. You'll then have to decide which specific country you'll need to focus on. Let's say you choose Mexico. Even then, you need to decide which region within Mexico you're going to target, because even within Mexico, there are multiple dialects.
Lack of transparency.
As an influencer, it's very important to talk about your setbacks and put your failures out there. Everybody makes mistakes. Well, why should a YouTube polyglot be transparent about their setbacks? You need to prioritize honesty over views and subscribers, because it doesn't matter how popular you are if, number 1, you're seen as a fraud, which can be detrimental to your YouTube career. Number 2, you're not actually making a difference. So chances are that you'll never get the greatest satisfaction when it comes to teaching. Number 3, you're not being honest with yourself, so you'll never be at peace. You may get the crowd, the views, and the praise. People may be mesmerized by your abilities and get drunk on your content, but you're still a fraud, and deep down, you know it. Look, we all have our own journey with different backgrounds, experiences, and interests, and I'm well aware that we don't have to follow the same path. We don't have to listen to the same people. We don't have to use the same methods because we don't have the same goals and destinations in mind. The only question is, do you take responsibility for your own learning? The responsibility is on all of us to do our due diligence and take our learning into our own hands. It doesn't matter what an influencer does. You need to take every bit of information on the internet with a grain of salt. It's not hoping for someone else to just dump information on you. Learning is a process that leads to change, which occurs as a result of experience and increases the potential for improved performance in future learning. The road to mastery is long and tedious. There is no shortcut to it, but in the end, you'll have something that very few people have: actual abilities, skills, and proficiency in your craft.